I need you to prevent, my infant, and pause for a moment. I'm aware of those instances. Whilst your thoughts emerge as a whirlwind, each subject pulling your attention in multiple guidelines, stirring up feelings of unease about approximately what would possibly spread or what you desire could be special. I see how even a short duration of silence from someone else, a small gap in anticipated conversation can feel like it stretches on, developing a space wherein apprehension can take root and grow. You placed your hopes out into the arena. You ask your questions. You proportion your extra touchy emotions. And then comes that period of ready, watching for some indication. In those moments, every slight trade, every subtle shift you perceive can feel as though it carries the ability for both comfort and the arrival of something you substantially fear. I look at all of this, and I recognize it deeply. The manner the human spirit is, a manner I have delivered into being, allows for such deep affection and terrific inventiveness. Yet, it additionally possesses an eager sensitivity to possibilities that sense unsettling when a response takes longer than you assume, while you don't fast acquire the signal you are seeking out. I observe how your thoughts can begin to assemble very designated causes from just fragments of uncertainty. A minor delay may be magnified for your perception, easily turning into a sense that possibly you are not as vital to a person as you were hoping, or that your efforts aren't valued. A quick moment of no information may be interpreted as a sign of disapproval or distance. The figures that take form in these internal testimonies are regularly now not primarily based on present realities but are more like echoes of beyond hurts or anxieties about what the destiny might maintain. The narratives that your thoughts create whilst feeling very effective and convincing to you at the time are regularly now not in alignment with the whole reality of the state of affairs, as I am in a position to study it from a broader angle. I see the complete image, such as the parts which are hidden from your instantaneous view. I recognize this inner manner, my pricey one. In this manner, your thoughts can flow. I designed you with a creative potential, a massive ability for envisioning new matters, for seeing capacity, and for running in the direction of useful effects. This is a valuable trait. However, like all powerful aspects of your being, if this imaginative ability isn't always accompanied by means of an experience of inner calm that comes from connection with me, it can on occasion flip inward and, as an alternative of constructing, undoubtedly begin to construct inner obstacles of apprehension and fear. Please recognize that you are not alone in experiencing this. Many of my children locate themselves caught in those styles of wandering, in particular while they're on the verge of starting something new and strange, something I can be guiding them toward that calls for them to transport beyond what feels secure or recurring. These moments of stretching are regularly whilst such internal interest turns into something most noticeable. Bear in mind these factors of access, these open pathways that appear along your existence's journey. Once in a while they're very clean and apparent, seeming to maintain a lot of promise and excitement. At other times they're more diffused, perhaps nearly unnoticeable at first, requiring a mild sense of my steering for you to even understand their capacity. An open pathway that I give to you is more than just a simple hazard. It is an invitation to transport right into a deeper, extra advanced expertise of who you are getting in relation to me and my purposes. It may be an area of mastering to your spirit, a possibility to bolster your internal clear-up, and a situation via which my quiet has an effect on can be expressed through your existence in a way that advantages others. Once I offer any such pathway, it is because I understand inside you a readiness, a capability. Even in case you yourself are full of self-doubt or uncertainty at that second, you might study the start of this new manner and notice especially what you feel are your own shortcomings, your beyond missteps, or the shadows of what you agree with are your personal obstacles. You might hear inner whispers. I see the power, suggesting that you are not strong enough for the mission, not smart enough to navigate it, or truly no longer okay in some fundamental way to continue. But I, my dear one, see the strength I've placed within you. I see the resilience that I have been supporting. You develop through every problem you've faced and overcome. I see the unique mixture of your traits and reviews that I intend to apply for functions that you could no longer but completely comprehend. My view of you is based totally on what I recognize you may turn out to be with my help. An open pathway for me does not always symbolize an effortless route. Often the maximum critical entryways result in stories to be able to venture you, assist you to refine your individuality, and in the long run contribute to your wonderful transformation. There are probably currents of opposition or situations that require you to analyze new approaches to doing things. There may be moments where the manner ahead is not absolutely clear, wherein you need to continue one step at a time, counting on my guidance. This is a part of the journey, no longer intended to cause you distress, but to encourage you to draw in the direction of me, to train you to depend on my consistent presence, my quiet wisdom, and my unfailing support. It's miles in those stories, those ventures beyond the familiar and at ease that your internal conviction deepens, and your person is reinforced via the manner of continuing a loving outlook. I'm with you at every new starting, my presence a steadying influence, my encouragement, and a quiet reassurance. Attempt to listen for my mild steering, above the noise of your own doubts or the doubts of others. And apprehend this, my cherished one, when this sort of pathway appears earlier than you, one that I've allowed to open, it often signifies that you are drawing close to something sincerely significant, something that holds a part of my ordinary appropriate layout to your lifestyles and for the well-being of these round you. It's far precisely at those critical junctures where you might encounter what it feels like a barrier at the entrance, a force of resistance that appears to want to show you lower back, to fill your coronary heart with hesitation or fear. This resistance, this feeling of an impediment, isn't there to signify my absence or disapproval. Pretty regularly its presence can simply underscore the enormous fee and importance of what I'm inviting you to interact with. If the path were of little result, if the potential for your development and fine have an effect on were minimal, then any competition might, in all likelihood, be moderate, perhaps even unnoticeable. But whilst there are massive possibilities for suitability in my view, while a new region of my grace is to be skilled and shared through you, when a deeper degree of your internal capacities is set to be accessed, do not be surprised if you sense a certain non-secular friction or a boom-in problem. This perceived barrier does no longer continually show up as a noisy or obvious chance, even though occasionally it may feel that way. More frequently, it's far diffused effect, a quiet idea of half-truths that can prey upon your private insecurities. It will use the screen of your own mind to mission pictures out of your beyond, perhaps replaying your past reviews, errors, bringing back echoes of essential phrases or reminding you of times you felt you weren't up to a venture or felt ashamed. It does this to try to plant emotions of unworthiness, to whisper persuasive but unfaithful ideas like, you failed to be triumphant earlier then, so that you'll possibly not prevail now. Or, you are now not really suited for this. Don't forget what happened the last time you tried something similar. Or, why could you observe you can accomplish something truly worthwhile? These are attempts to discourage you. Those recollections, whilst you view them through the distorted prism of such terrible recommendations, can experience overwhelmingly real and can powerfully inhibit your willingness to try new things, to accept as true with my leading, or to step forward with internal conviction. However, I need you to understand, my loved one, that your past reviews, when you carry them to me and are willing to analyze them, do. Now there ought not to be a supply problem, however, it can be a source of getting to know any errors whilst acknowledged and discovered from what had been encompassed through my deep understanding and compassion. They now do not want to define who you are nowadays. I've the potential to convey precise even from tough beyond stories, and I'm able to even use the instructions discovered from them to hire put you together for destiny endeavors. While those images from the beyond beginning to occupy your thoughts, do not now reside on them from a place of negativity. Alternatively, convey them consciously to me. Allow my quiet fact to help you notice them. In another way, permit my popularity to help silence the tough inner judgments. Permit my angle to assist to reframe those studies as opportunities for boom, now not as everlasting limitations. My potential right to your existence is usually more than any beyond difficulty. Then there are the hypothetical futures. The ones intricate and often unsettling situations that the enemy loves to assemble in your mind to try and immobilize you with anxiety. He'll take a small detail of uncertainty about what lies past the open pathway and try to develop it for you. Mind into an entire wooded area of potential troubles. What if you come upon first-rate issue? What if others do not apprehend or aid you? What if you experience that you cannot manipulate the new duties? What if it would not flip out as you wish? You are probably bombarded with those sorts of possibilities, each one designed to increase your fear and lessen your belief in my capacity to provide what you want to defend your well-being and to guide you correctly. Those imagined futures, my expensive one, are often like phantoms. They're not based totally on my real facts or my steadfast promises. They may be regularly just specters designed to keep you from embracing the gift top and the contemporary steering I have for you. Destiny is something that unfolds below my watchful care, and I have promised to be with you every step of the way as you navigate it. I have not given you a spirit of worry, but one of inherent energy, deep love, and clear, properly ordered thoughts. While these nerve-wracking projections of what would possibly begin to cloud your imaginative and prescient and trouble your coronary heart, consciously pick out to redirect your thoughts to what's certain. My unchanging nature, my unfailing affection for you, my unique and reliable guarantees for your existence. The only manner to counter these approaches associated with the beyond and the future is to anchor yourself firmly in the present moment in quiet connection with me. Convey your past hurts and your future fears into my gentle recuperation. Attention through quiet mirrored image via analyzing my phrases of anchor yourself in the present moment. Fact or via speaking with those with different expertise who can remind you of my care for you. Allow me to softly assist you in disentangling your coronary heart from these narratives of disgrace and anxiety that don't originate from me. My private preference is as a way to live within the freedom of my love, unburdened by the shadows of the day prior to this or the phantoms of tomorrow, so you can fully embody the today I have given you and the open pathways I am inviting you to stroll through with a spirit of quiet braveness and internal joy. This attention on the existing with me is wherein your authentic energy lies. The journey of inner conviction, my cherished one, frequently includes navigating a panorama wherein your outside circumstances and your internal realities can appear to be in warfare with each other. My servant Paul, in his very open and honest sharing of approximately his reviews, talked about dealing with conflicts in the outdoors and fears within. That is a profound perception into the not unusual human joy, especially when you are actively trying to observe my steering and are stepping into new regions of lifestyles or responsibility that I have led you to. The conflicts at the outdoors are regularly the extra apparent, the greater tangible ones. They can take many bureaucracy, perhaps misunderstandings with humans round you, opposition from those who do not now share or guide your imaginative and prescient dreams, unexpected setbacks on your plans or initiatives, financial pressures that cause fear, health-demanding situations that are difficult to bear, or truly the overall friction and problems that include dwelling in a complicated globe that isn't always yet fully aligned with my peaceful methods. These outside struggles can certainly be sporting, and they can test your inner clarity and your persistence. But, as real, and as traumatic as those external conflicts may be, I need you to apprehend something very critical. The stronger, the more insidious, and regularly the more decisive battles are those which are waged within the personal panorama of your own heart and thoughts. The fears within. Those are such things as nagging doubts about your own worthiness or capabilities. Chronic anxieties about your capacity to handle what's before you. Quiet whispers of insecurity that undermines your self-belief. Echoes of past traumas or disappointments that resurface, or a pervasive dread of capacity failure or rejection. Those are often the unseen adversaries that can do the most damage to your spirit and may maximum efficiently restrict your progress in gratifying my accurate functions in your existence. The enemy knows this dynamic thoroughly. He is aware that if it is able to undermine your internal peace, your self-assurance in my steadfast love for you, and your agreement in my mild steerage, then the outside conflicts you face will seem all the more overwhelming, all the extra insurmountable. He seeks to turn your internal sanctuary, the quiet place inside you wherein you hook up with me in a place of turmoil and unrest. He attempts to make your mind into a consistent chorus of negativity and doubt, and to turn your emotions into a whirlwind of worry and apprehension. But I have now not left you unequipped or defenseless in this inner struggle. My expensive one, I have given you my personal spirit to live within you. A spirit. Acknowledge your fears. That brings inherent electricity, deep love, and the capacity for a valid, disciplined, and nicely ordered mind. I've given you my phrases of fact. An encouragement, which may be like a lamp for your feet and a guide to your direction, a dependable source of unshakable fact that could help to dispel the shadows of deception and confusion. I have given you the valuable gift of prayer, an immediate and open line of communication with me where you could pour out your heart, proportion your burdens, receive my energy, and discover my quiet awareness for your scenario. And I have additionally positioned you inside a network of fellow seekers. Different individuals on their personal journeys who can offer encouragement, assist, know-how, and a feel of shared experience. The important thing to efficaciously navigating those internal fears is to always bring them into the light of my presence. Do not try to truly suppress them, forget about them, or try and fight them off on your very own restrained electricity. That method, regularly and most effectively, gives them extra energy over you ultimately. Instead, I invite you to well known to them truly and overtly before me. Name your fears. Articulate your doubts. Voice your insecurities to me in the quiet of your coronary heart. It's far in your willingness to be vulnerable and honest with me about your struggles that my power can be made most evident and powerful for your lifestyles. When you admit your human weak point, you open the door for my divine power to flow into you and through you, bringing the help you need. Don't forget additionally that your feelings, even though they're virtually actual and a part of your human reveling, aren't always dependable signs of closing fact. Worry, as an instance, can experience quite persuasive and powerful. However, it is mostly a deceiver, a distorter of my genuine truth and my loving intentions for you. It's essential to anchor yourself in what you already know to be genuine from my unchanging phrase and from my regular person. Even if your feelings are telling you something totally special and extra scary. Tale, consciously choose to trust my record, my guarantees of love and care, over the regularly exaggerated record of your fears. This inner warfare isn't always a signal of your failure or that something is inaccurate with you. As an alternative, it's far more regular, an indication that you are engaged in something huge, something that touches on topics on your religious journey. It's far an ordinary part of the technique through which your inner conviction is deepened and your reliance on me is solidified and made more real. Whenever you consciously pick to accept as true with me within the face of worry, on every occasion you deliver your inner turmoil to me and permit my peace to settle your heart, you're triumphing in a critical victory. A victory that strengthens you and prepares you for the route ahead. I'm your constant champion in you're prevailing in a vital victory. This ongoing inner battle. My expensive one, lean into me. Draw your strength and braveness from me and recognize with reality that with me by means of your aspect, you're truly more than a conqueror over every fear that seeks to keep you captive or limit your reveling in my goodness. In the very midst of your journey, particularly for the duration of the times that sense is characterized by means of extreme waiting, by means of inner conflict, or while the course ahead seems particularly obscured by uncertainty and also you cannot see surely, I need you to keep rapid to this steadfast promise. My cherished, I'm able to always send my comfort. I'm able to usually offer my confirmation in due time. What your coronary heart longs for, that tangible proof of my presence, my guidance, and my taking care of you will certainly arrive. I regularly permit periods in your existence in which your internal conviction is stretched, where you must study to stroll by using agree with and no longer going through what you may immediately see or understand, wherein you ought to grapple with your very own human anxieties and examine the critical practice of bringing them to me in sincere vulnerability. These are not times of my abandonment or my forgetfulness. There's some distance from it. Those are frequently times of deep and regularly unseen spiritual formation and development. It's miles precisely in those intervals of readiness and uncertainty that your capacity to acquire and recognize my consolation is without a doubt being enlarged and deepened. After which, in my very own ideal timing, in a manner, this is often uniquely and wonderfully tailored to your precise want at that second and to the specific sensitivities of your own coronary heart, I'm able to send my messenger of consolation, and confirmation may additionally be available in numerous forms. It might be a tangible leap forward on your outside instances, a clear word of steerage that involves you through my scripture, or via a quiet influence of my spirit upon your coronary heart. It is able to be a surprising provision that meets a pressing need, a timely phrase of encouragement from a fellow believer, or A relied-on friend, a second of recovery in a strained relationship, or surely a profound and unshakable feel of my peace settling over your troubled soul, calming your fears. When this divine comfort arrives, it's far more often experienced with a depth of joy and gratitude that is greater than ever. And why is it that this so? It's miles due to the fact this comfort comes against the backdrop of your very real struggle. Your patient is ready, when this divine consolation arrives, earnest and heartfelt looking for me, the relief feels sweeter and more profound precisely because the tension and uncertainty have been absolutely felt. The light appears brighter and greater wonderful due to the fact the preceding darkness became keenly skilled. This is part of the stunning and often mysterious manner my grace operates. I can use even the seasons of trial and problem to prepare you for an extra potential to enjoy my goodness, my presence, and my deep abiding pleasure. Your part in this process, my pricey one, is to remain watchful and attentive. To preserve your heart open and receptive to recognizing my messengers of comfort after they appear in your lifestyles. They'll now not usually come within the genuine form you assume or at the ideal second you might have wished for or demanded. Every now and then my consolation is a gentle whisper in the midst of surrounding chaos. A subtle, however, great shift in your angle that brings new understanding. A quiet strengthening of your internal self that permits you to persevere. Different times it's as far as clean and as unmistakably welcome as a long-awaited and cherished buddy arriving at your door with splendid news. Learn to consciously see my hand, my loving care in those moments of resolution, in those timely arrivals of peace and readability. Take the time to get to know my faithfulness in your life. Domesticate a heart of gratitude for my smooth mercies, which can be new every morning. For every blessing, every example of my consolation and steerage that I ship into your life is meant to be a sparkling and private reminder of my unwavering love for you, my regular and abiding presence with you, and my sovereign capacity to deliver radiant mildness into your darkest hours and profound peace in your most stricken and nerve-wracking mind. Preserve on to the reminiscence of those divine encounters, my dear one. Treasure them in your heart, for they will turn out to be sturdy anchors on your soul in destiny seasons of readiness, uncertainty, or trial. My comfort is sure, my loved one, and it will constantly, usually, find its way to you. You could depend on this. There'll absolutely be moments in your life's journey, my precious one, when you have the opportunity to appear again over a season that became marked by excessive worry, with the aid of an extended duration of uncertainty, or through a huge wrestling with those conflicts without and fears within. And in that retrospective gaze, a profound and deeply reassuring recognition will regularly dawn upon your spirit. I, your loving Manuel, had all of it labored out all along. At the same time as you were expending so much, my overarching plan is already unfolding. Valuable strength and stressful speculation, whilst your mind was busily weaving complicated eventualities of ability, issue or unhappiness, my hand had already quietly and successfully shifted. The overarching plan has already lightly unfolded. My grace was already at paintings, in countless subtle ways, which you surely couldn't perceive or recognize at that time. That is one of the most beautiful and faith-strengthening revelations you can enjoy in your stroll with me. It's far from surprising when the seemingly scattered and confusing pieces of your recent joy abruptly coalesce like components of a puzzle coming collectively to expose a clear and simple pattern of my cautious providence and my loving steering for your lifestyles. It is when you are capable of. See with the awesome clarity that hindsight frequently brings that the very belongings you fretted over the maximum, the results you so desperately attempted to govern or manage for your personal energy, and the solutions to issues that you couldn't fathom or believe. All of those have been being gently, sovereignly, and wisely guided by way of my loving expertise. And my overarching take on taking care of your proper being. My loving plan had now not been thwarted by using your walk with me, his human tension, nor by the complexities and difficulties of the scenario itself. These backward glances, these possibilities to see my faithfulness in retrospect is not meant to result in you feeling remorse or self-condemnation for the time you could have spent in fear. Despite the fact that they may convey a mild and beneficial focus on the way a great deal of extra profound peace you could have experienced had you been capable of considering me more fully and constantly from the outset of the challenging state of affairs. Instead, the number one and most valuable reason for those retrospectives, insights to construct and toughen your religion for the destiny. Every example where you simply see my unwavering faithfulness in your beyond will become a solid cornerstone, a reliable factor of reference in your consideration of me when you inevitably face new uncertainties and new open pathways in order to require fresh braveness and a renewed reliance on my steerage. You will learn, my dear one, an increasing number of these numerous stories, that my timing is indeed always ideal, and in your closing precise. The delays that felt so agonizing and frustrating to you at the time had been possibly necessary for different unseen pieces of my larger plan to fall into place, or perhaps on your very own coronary heart and individual to be competently organized for what was to come back subsequently. The detours from your predicted course that seems to frustrate your progress or confuse your knowledge may also properly have been my way of subtly defending you from unseen dangers or lightly guiding you toward unexpected advantages and opportunities for an increase that you could not have predicted. The instructions that are found out in the crucible of fear and uncertainty whilst they're subsequently surrendered to the disclosing light of my faithfulness is really helpful to your ongoing adventure. They educate you regularly extra efficiently than something else can. The closing futility of seeking to carry the heavy burdens of lifestyles that only I'm sincerely prepared and able to endure on your behalf. They deepen your understanding of my unchanging character, my endless endurance, my boundless expertise, my unwavering and unconditional love for you. They cultivate inside your spirit a pause with me, more capacity to loosen your tight grip of control and to rest extra absolutely in my sovereign, loving, and ever watchful care. Pause with me for a second, proper where you are. Allow the lists in your head to loosen their grip and permit the numerous voices to fade to a far-off murmur. In this unhurried area, your shoulders can settle and your breathing can be sluggish. I formed this quiet corner for you, so that you may take into account what often slips away whilst maps, schedules, and expectancies crowd the day. Provide interest now to a consistent truth I want to percentage. One that can be felt under phrases, below ticking clocks, underneath every demand in your interest. Allow the present silence to remind you that your worth isn't measured not by way of productivity, but by using being itself. I see you without masks or disguises. I do not mean the general public photograph. I see the strong and fragile components together, the spark that has been yours from the beginning, nevertheless glowing even if covered by way of business or doubt. I know the hopes you carry like sensitive glass, the personal fears that surface when the room is darkish, and the courage that rises again even after heavy disappointment. Nothing about you, whether shiny or hidden, slips past me. Actual development often hides internal, ordinary moments. From where you stand, the course may also look blurred or damaged, and each effort can seem too minor to report. From my wider view, the photograph is clear. I watch resilience build each time you face a setback, endurance deepen whilst frustration presses, and honesty declares the degree when shortcuts promise smooth gain. Those quiet selections are stable ground on which honest character stands, and each person matters more than you recognize, shaping both the present and the chapter. Nonetheless, in advance, I therefore invite you to lift your outlook beyond ultramodern horizon. Roads you haven't yet walked are unfolding. Welcome surprises wait. Round bends you can't see. Experiences will stretch your vision. Truths will sharpen your information, and sparkling marvel will visit your senses. Each side of your being arose from planned care, never coincidence or chance. Each inhale stays a provided present. I have stood beside you in shiny days and in bleak ones. Whether you sensed me or felt on my own, I joined your laughter at celebrations and stayed through long nights while sorrow pressed like a weight on your chest. I observed victories others skipped beyond, the honest conversation that mended a bond, the brave choice to stand in fear, the generous act whilst your very own resources felt skinny. I also saw the silent hours, whilst no phrases could reach the deep ache. In such spans persistence took root, intensity grew quietly, and understanding blossomed in ways no manual can educate. Pleasure and ache had been tutors, each getting ready an actual room for knowledge to stay inside you. Small steps repeated constantly build a path you'll later apprehend as steady development. Rejoice, each one, as opposed to looking forward to dramatic milestones. Whilst trials stretched you beyond assumed limits, I did no longer step again. Even when you felt abandoned, an unseen undercurrent held your weary frame. Assist regularly works under recognition, and its quiet drift guards you until the floor calms. Think of deep water underneath a drifting boat. You may simply experience rocking on the floor, yet powerful currents guide below. In the same way, my aid movements with quiet pressure, drawing you far from hidden reefs, edging you toward secure inlets, where you could regain power and perspective. Recognize that my nearness never falters even in moments that feel empty. Here is a fact capable of ground effect. Stressed idea. You aren't a passing face lost in a mass of humanity. You are diagnosed, valued, and known by name. The murmured thoughts you form earlier than sleep, and the worries you wake to at dawn really arrive to me, never drowned out by using the world's noise. Your spirit is meant to face aside, now not for trophies or applause, but due to the fact love publications you, and motive steadies your stroll. The mildness you convey can draw others closer to what's reliable and accurate. Do not measure the reach of your influence with the aid of floor markers such as titles or popularity. Influence grows quietly, frequently through regular goodness proven in small interactions, via honest decisions made while nobody is watching, and via compassion supplied without statement. Each twist for your story. To this point, each welcome and hardship has prepared you for duties that fit your needs perfectly and for contributions no one else can make in pretty much the identical way. Doorways long closed. Doorways that have been closed for a long time are starting to swing open, and no opposing force can comfortably them close once more. Pathways will emerge through partitions that, when regarded immovable, resources will arise in which shortage is dominant, and fog will rise where confusion lingered. The light that feels every day to you may nonetheless constantly affect a person on shaky ground, presenting a glimpse of hope they believed had vanished. Aspirations that are afterfelt unreachable are shifting inside variety. This is not only through your own attempt, although your constant participation remains crucial. It is also via strength I deliver. Enduring power suggests itself maximum surely, while honest frailty is acknowledged instead of hidden. Relaxation assured that assets aren't confined to cloth delivery, insight, timing, sudden partnerships, fresh creativity. These kinds will arrive like welcome guests. Remain watchful for them. Acquire them without hesitation and place them in paintings for functions larger than self-interest. I can offer what is needed exactly when it's needed in order that your subsequent steps land on firm footing. I have watched the tears you refuse to permit to fall in public, the whispered wishes you hardly dared to admit, and the deep length of worn-out longing. Every quiet act of bravery, every decision to consider while worry pressed tough. I've watched. Provides on your power. Do not forget also that sorrow does not disqualify you. Instead, it enlarges your capability to note hidden pain in others and to respond with empathy as opposed to detachment. Recommendation. Every tear, each exposed nerve has been visible. Openness, although volatile, turns into a doorway via which real connection can stroll. No feeling has long passed to waste. Even when you could not trace my motion, I used to be arranging info for growth, for precision, and for opportunities. But unseen. Your existence is some distance greater, more complex, and more finely deliberate than the present vision allows. As pages flip, the pattern will rise, and the free threads of these days will fit a clean layout tomorrow. A sample is already forming, even though you now see the most effective fragments. In the future, a clean definition will emerge, revealing how disappointments have become openings, how delays positioned you at crossroads at the precise hour help was wanted. Hold directly to that truth at the same time as the image continues to be incomplete. So resist dread regarding destiny days. I already inhabit them. What now appears scattered will soon hyperlink collectively into understandable traces. Your destiny is relaxed. No pressure, no setback can put you off from my reach. Your future is at ease. Demanding situations will still appear. Boom demands resistance. However, do not forget, I outlast them all. Due to the fact you travel with me, your percentage in that persistence. Staying power isn't always mere survival. It's a far quieter remedy that turns obstacles into gaining knowledge of and transforms ache into empathy for others on similar roads. You in no way meet trouble by yourself. Steady energy walks beside you, lending stability step by step. Whilst fear stands at your door or doubt tries to discover a foothold, recall that your safety does not rely on the firmness of your hold close, however, on mine, it never slackens. Stand company and watch new progress spread and surprising currents of favor open. Earlier than you. Permit questions to come, but do not let them rule. They could knock, but they need to not settle now. Go back to the simple, constant reality that I hold you and watch irritating minds lose their urgency underneath that light. Stand tall inside that remembering and let compassion shape both your phrases and your movements, refusing the grip of hysteria. I invite you over and over to attract nearer. In each short pause, in each hush between duties, pay attention to the route. My voice speaks via stillness, through insight, via stand tall internally. Mild conviction. Pay attention to the nudges you frequently disregard. The sudden recollection of a forgotten promise. The urge to reach out to a pal. The mild pause that warns. In opposition to rash speech. These small alerts are invitations to stroll collectively with me. I need a residing friendship, not a performance. Let calm relaxation inside you, and let lasting pleasure settle deeper than circumstances. Thoughts set apart for this very hour will upward thrust to the surface. Whilst you search with an inclined heart, you will note me in the info that appears every day. Whilst the answer you desire appears behind schedule, look for the increase. Going on inside all through the wait. If some prayers seem stalled, accept that as true. Timing is genuine, tuned to your first class, and for wider proper, you cannot yet see, shield space for silence. Relentless interest can drown. Guard space for silence. Out quiet steerage. Silence isn't always an empty room but a fertile floor wherein know-how can take shape. Practice. Laying aside regular noise so that deeper perception has an area to rise. As you do, you may discover ways to distinguish lasting steerage from passing noise. Putting off hardly ever equals refusal. It regularly alerts training. I am putting you where you can absolutely receive what's coming. When the appointed season arrives, hindsight will display why each pause had motive. Share hope from the overflow of what you acquire. Many of you meet are sporting weights that bend their backs. Offer listening ears, cautious phrases, and easy assist. Keep your eyes open for small doorways in which goodness can enter. A renewed power. Step via them boldly, trusting that quiet help can mark a turning point in some other life. A renewed drive is awakening the interior you, a broader capacity to steer consequences towards proper abilities entrusted to you will develop as you operate them consistent with love's intent. Words spoken with readability will elevate burdens. Prayers offered in honesty will shift barriers. Even hesitant steps taken in acceptance as true will spark tremendous change that ripples outward. This adventure is not approximately pressure, ego, or display. It's far, approximately quiet communion with me, bringing mildness and care any place on your route. Leads. Stay teachable. Hold inward motives obvious. Use growing impact to stay teachable. Pay attention as severely as you speak, to function faithfully as you guide. My regard for you stands consistent. It cannot be earned by way of success nor reduced by errors. It arrives every day. Like reliable dawn. Think of the proper approximate impact over the years. Conduct of equity, styles of patience, and rhythms of encouragement collect into legacies that live longer than man or woman moments, turning ordinary days into strong stepping stones. Allow that steady preference renews tired moments. Rinse away disappointment and stir generosity when you sense drained. My dedication does no longer flicker. Should you stumble, I regular you. Ought to you waft, I draw you lower back. Whilst you live from this constant supply, you will find that generosity replenishes in preference to drains. Because giving and receiving drift in each guideline inside relationships. Relaxation on this assurance. Allow compassion to mend your view each morning, liberating you from old remorse. I will place companions beside you, Voices that inspire, fingers that help, eyes that verify the route in advance. You are in no way abandoned. My presence surrounds you. My breath moves inside you. Mild protection continues. Watch. Quiet but unbreakable.